Alay dari ke aman tulukanyan ni Jong abila sumang Jong sondo mo manda balana Forida luwatul balada Mumu kapuri ke dogol bema ya mali badwasani Membe nol layan de darai balino
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلوات الله تعالى وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الواقع. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. I would like to extend my heartfelt and most sincere greetings to all of you, wherever you are in this world, Gambians, non-Gambians watching me. I've come today to have a very important and a serious, very sensitive discussion with our esteemed National Assembly members, our members of Parliament, people that are representing us in the most important and one of the most powerful institutions in our country. As you're all aware, Gambians far and wide, in and outside of our country, went to polls in 2016 to decide on the fate of new direction for our country, on the new direction for the type of way we want to be governed by the rules and the law. And among these aspirations and objectives that we set for ourselves in post-2016 election was to put in place a document, a national supreme document, a constitution that will direct us in a way, that will guide us in a way, that will also create a path in a way we would live together as brothers and as sisters without any form of discrimination, without any form of exclusion, without any form of prejudice. And of course, a constitution, a document that will create a path and a way that will equally help us to never have an individual impose upon us his or her wills as a leader. And that is to say, there will never be any man, any individual again that will be able to do whatever he or she wishes, if those wishes and wills are in contravention or are in disagreement or are in divergent views with our Supreme Book. So a book that we believe would of course stem any attempt by any person or group of persons that will ever want to see dictatorship in our country. After millions and millions of dollars was spent on consultation, on logistics, on a lot of things, on Monday, the document will finally be tabled before our National Assembly members to vote whether to accept, whether to adopt the Constitution so that it will go to the next level, which is referendum, or they will reject the document or the draft Constitution and we will go back and use the 1997 Constitution. I am speaking as an individual, and all that I am saying here are but my opinions. They are my views and solely my views only. And so please do not associate or relate these views to any entity, to any party or any group of people. They are entirely mine, and I would like them to be seen and considered as such. On the draft Constitution, like many of you, I tried as much as I can, even though I dreaded reading. One of the things I hate most is reading, and that's why my English language is not as good as some of you. And that is why my vocabulary is not as wide as most of you, because I dreaded reading. I hate reading. But in as much as I do hate reading, I endeavored and I made extraordinary efforts to go through a lot of the draft clauses. As Sidia Jata would say, they are not yet sections. It's a draft, so the clauses. I've read a lot of clauses, and as human beings, everybody has an area of interest, a place that you are interested in, a place that directly affects you or directly affects someone that you have shared a lot in common with when it comes to political views, when it comes to religious views, when it comes to sexual orientation views, when it comes to cultural views. As far as I am concerned, there are two areas in this Constitution that I believe are sufficient enough for National Assembly members of the Republic of the Gambia to not accept this Constitution. There are sections or clauses in that Constitution that I believe, without amendment of these sections, I would appeal to all the National Assembly members, or at least those that would reason with my views and mentality, to not, and I repeat, to not accept this draft Constitution of 2022 or 2020. I was here some time ago, and I queried about a few sections. One of them is discriminating against a bona fide citizen, targeting an individual as opposed to targeting a system, targeting a general consensus, targeting something that is progressive, something that is not targeting an individual. And that is, there is a clause in that constitution that says term limits shall be 2. There shall be 2 5-years or 2 5-year limits for a president. No president goes beyond 2 terms in office. And that the current president, the current term of the current president should be considered a term served. If he were to win the next election in 2021, he would by then serve just 1 year to 1 term for him to step down. I am not President Adama Barrow. I will not be able to speak for him. But as a Gambian, as an individual, I believe what I wouldn't want against my person, I wouldn't want it against another person. And as such, putting emotions into our constitution that is supposed to be an all-inclusive, progressive document, for me is, enough grounds to reject that constitution. I am not sure if it is all of them, but I have a strong conviction by virtue of the provisions or by virtue of these clauses that there are people who wrote with emotions and implanted it into a document that is supposed to be devoid of any such thing. So they've put in an emotion and discriminated against Adama Barrow, and as such I believe that is discriminatory. If it were Ousainou Darboe, it's the same thing, discriminatory. If it were AHMAD GITTEH, the same thing is discriminatory. If it were Hassan Jallow, I believe, and these are my views, it is discriminatory. And whether Adama Barrow accepts that as a person or not, my view is that is discriminatory. It could have been AHMAD GITTEH. It could have been someone I love so much like I do with Adama. It could have been Mohamed Manjang that I love so much as well. I wouldn't want it to happen. We believe in general feelings that constitutions are supposed to be progressive, not retrospective. And for that, one of the reasons, I believe National Assembly members, you should reject this constitution if you do not have powers to amend it. That's number one. Number two, Gambians in and outside of the Gambia are Gambians. And there is a section that bars Gambians with dual citizenship to run for presidency, to hold the position of vice president, or run for National Assembly membership. So Gambians that are outside and have dual citizenship are barred by the constitution to not run for president, to not run for National Assembly positions. I believe this again is hugely discriminatory against that segment, that constituency of Gambians. Mane, we are all Gambians. Whether you are in or outside of the Gambia, the philosophy, the wisdom is that Gambians outside are Gambians. And this is evident by the amount of contributions that they make economically, educationally, in all facets of life. Gambians, Gambian Americans, we have seen them. In fact, it might not be right position to say it, but we have seen Gambian Americans that left America to go and try to free Gambians in the Gambia. Some died there. Njaga Jain was one of them, a Gambian American. Alaji Barrow is one of them, a Gambian American. Chernon Jai was one of them, a Gambian American. Papa Fall was one of them, a Gambian American. And that guy, The sniper is one of them. Bankamane is one of them. These are Gambian Americans. And the fact that they will spend their money and time and resources to leave their loved ones and go to Gambia to try and free Gambia from Yaya Jammeh tells a lot about, even if they are not in the Gambia, the views, the feelings and the love they have for that country. Now, when you sit down as an erudite, law intellectual, a specialist in law, someone that has interacted with society, you've known the psychologies of the people, you get wisdoms out of things, just sitting down and without any remorse, barring a section of Gambian society from running for office because they have dual citizenship without any other consideration, I believe is discriminatory. Don't worry, I'll come to local languages, but I believe I need to send this because the local language I understand, probably Justice Cherno Jallo, is not, maybe it's not it's not very fluent in Mandinka, or there are some that are not, and this is intended for National Assembly members, but at the same time for those that drafted this constitution. I've made an appeal for Gambians, those that are in charge, to look at the Kenyan situation. Let's look at Ibrahima Chongan, a fantastic former military officer who left his home not because he wanted to go. His father served that country with distinction, with honesty, with integrity, with love and patriotism. Ibrahima Chongan followed the footsteps of his father. He joined the armed forces, the police. He served to protect and secure the integrity, the territorial integrity, and of course, remain loyal to that country. But then he was forced out. For instance, he didn't go to England by his own will. He's there. Of course, he needed to have papers because those are the ones that will give him free health care, good education for his children, and good opportunities to him. But did that stop him from fighting for Gambia? No. From 1997 to 2016, he has been fighting. And Ibrahima Chongan is just one example. There are thousands of Gambians that did the same, like I mentioned, Njaka Jang, the late, that died in the Gambian palace trying to free Gambians. Allah Jaja Nyas, that died in the Gambian palace trying to free Gambians. They had dual citizenships. Now, you will want to tell me that Ibrahima Chongan cannot run for president, he cannot be a vice president, he cannot run for National Assembly to help his constituency with the vast and wealth of experience that he got from the United Kingdom. He's almost 25 years of service in British government. You believe he cannot serve? Pasala Jang, you have a lot of people that are youngsters, great engineers in the US, great doctors in the US, great people that can come in and serve our country in the best of capacity. They can fit in the National Assembly. They can perform extremely well. They can give new direction to our country. You say those people cannot run for office. We've appealed and said, look at the Kenyan situation in this case. Because in Kenya, if you are a dual citizen, you can run for president and vice president. That's okay. If you win, then you have to start renouncing the other citizenship. Run for office. If you win, renounce your other citizenship. If you lose, go back. You don't need to lose that citizenship because every citizenship comes with benefits. Now, when you tell Ibrahima Chongan that you will not be a National Assembly member until you renounce your National Assembly, your British citizenship, he runs, he spends thousands of pounds, and he lost the elections. He has lost British citizenship. He has lost the privileges of a British citizen and the opportunities he would have to be able to help a lot of Gambians. He has lost that opportunity, and Gambians that he is helping by his virtue of being a British citizen, those Gambians also suffer. Now, double lost. He has spent his money. He has lost his opportunities and privileges in Britain, and he has not won the elections. Why can't we do it the other way? You run for president, if you so win it. When you do not win, I'm not encouraging coup. I want to make it clear here. I do not encourage coup. No, I did not. I'm giving an example. Someone, in fact, that will go to do an illegal thing for his people. Coming, Mandinkol Kamimfo. Musoe balafa dingolie. Ay balafa dingolie. A dingolie konko. A dingolie konko. A dingolie konko to a point. Aita e genoke. Pura e kodo soda da dingol balundi. Yalong islamo man jeno. Islamo man jeno ama encouraged. Bari musomin tata jeno la pura dingol balundi. Aka mimfana itandile wolem. Musola kano ba dingol la koto nyame. How much a woman, a mother loves her children. Though committing extramarital affairs is forbidden. But the point I'm trying to make is the feeling, the wisdom behind why somebody will go and commit adultery to feed her children. That tells a lot about the love between the child and the mother. The same thing I'm speaking when I mentioned Jakajany and the team, December 30th. Overthrowing a legally elected president is illegal, but the urge and the love that will force somebody to go and commit that illegal act tells you a lot. Walat nanka funko. Kamol discriminate diaspora, they have discriminated us, and National Assembly members, I am telling you this. Wallahi, if Ibrahim Chongan becomes, let's say, a president in the Gambia, a vice president in the Gambia, a National Assembly member for, I don't know whether he's from Kotu or Josuang or which constituency, it will be unlike 95% of your National Assembly members, because he has the experience, because he has the knowledge, because he has the connections, and because he was like fine-tuned in a way. The system that he served for the past 20 years in Britain, fine-tuned Ibrahim Chongan in a way that if he becomes National Assembly member for Kotu, wallahi, he will make a difference. Because he is used to that, performance-based, merit-based jobs. Abala doku kela, you have to perform. You have to produce something at the end of the year. He has been used to that for 20 years. So ni Ibrahim Chongan, if you deny him that, you deny Gambia that. And I'm saying, if Ibrahim Chongan feels he wants to go and run to become National Assembly member, fantastic. But remember, because of his British citizen, he has benefits. And some of these benefits are, I'm using Ibrahim Chongan as an example, because for him, I can use him. He's my uncle, and he will not be angry with me. And that's why I'm comfortable using him as an example. But there are thousands of people. If Chongan spends £30,000 to run for National Assembly, he loses it. But then he already renounced his British citizenship. That's double loss. That's what I'm saying. National Assembly, this constitution should have allowed us to put in it that those that are dual citizens, you are allowed to run for these offices. But if you are declared a winner, you have until this period to renounce your citizenship of the other country. And that way we'll understand you didn't do that. Senegal allocated 7 National Assembly positions for diaspora. Senegalese that are in the diaspora, 7. They don't contest that with anybody. It is Senegalese in the diaspora, 7 National Assembly members. They go and sit in the parliament to also fight for the interests of Senegalese that are outside of Senegal. You have not created any of that for us. You have not done any of that for us. You just trash us out. I'm talking about if in an event that you are a Gambian, but you have another nationality. I believe that is done in a bad way. And because of that, I am appealing to National Assembly members to either amend that part of the law or reject this constitution. It is discriminatory against Gambians in the diaspora. Nobody in the Gambia, or very few in the Gambia, are without relatives in the diaspora. Most of them with papers. You know the contributions they make. You don't want them to come and learn in the Gambia? In fact, Gambia should welcome that. You go to England like Chongan. British government helped him. He got his education. British sponsored education. Britain got him a job. They pay him very high salary. Part of that salary, he sends it to his sisters, his nephews and friends who he was with in the armed forces and gendarmerie. He helped some of them with Ndawal. He built a solid house in the Gambia. That house is paying taxes to government. Chongan sends money. Every time he sends money, some money goes to government covers. After 22 years, after all the troubles, you all fought together. Just because he has British citizenship, you believe he is not qualified and he is not human enough or trustworthy enough to run for an office to develop that country. Somebody that spent 20-something years of his life serving that country with integrity. Somebody whose father preceded him in serving that country. You just alienated him like that. His children will not even talk about them. You double alienated those people. This constitution does not represent diaspora. It does not represent even Gambians in that regard. Because some of them, like I said, Chongan is Western educated. Britain sponsored him. They educated him. They gave him a job. They gave him excellent experience. Now you don't want him to come home and help in developing that tiny country after some of you have served for 50 years there or 22 years. Come on. That is not fair. That is not fair. Dr. Malandin Gitteh, a scientist from the United States, of course dual citizen. Of course a dual citizen. Thank you, Bafabu. Dr. Malanding, today he cannot even be a minister. Or even Ahmed Skatret-Jane, he cannot be an MP of Gunjur. I do not agree with Dr. Skatret-Jane on a lot of matters, but Dr. Jane is an American and a Gambian. He would be very good in fighting for the environmental rights of the people of Kombo South. You don't want him to run to be in the parliament so that he can push for the Chinese fishing mills to stop operations. You are not fair to Dr. Jane after all the fight we did together. And in fact, some of you drafting this constitution, people never saw you. Some of you, some I know, but some of you people never saw you. Bankamane, after all the fight he did, he will be an excellent MP for Kombo North, Burfoot, Sanimentran constituency. Bankamane will be an excellent National Assembly member. He'll make a brilliant fighter, but American educated, and he has helped a lot of people. He built his house in the Gambia. So you have many of these kinds of people. You discriminated us. National Assembly members, once again, I'm appealing to you as a Gambian, in the diaspora, that constitution does not represent us, that constitution, you know, it does not represent any of our interests, it does not reflect anything when it comes to us. So on the basis of that, please Allah reject. Don't accept it, Allah reject. Because imagine, ye fa Abu Sane Soto, National Assembly member Kian West, ye Sundu Ture Soto, ye Burama Chongan Soto, ye, you know, Ahmad Skater Janinyol Soto. I'm giving you examples. And so many brilliant young people, mini alonko, Allah brothers solem, your brothers. Alko ede kela nam solti. Mbadi ngolu. Mbemindani kang. Angale counter wolom nyintinte mela bari nko. Gambia National Assembly member dibitelu. Ifele pareta tenel lungole ebe karte o faila. Nanyeng loi buku kuto constitution kuto fo. Nyantal sonnala ban fo manyana sonnala. Ni sondala tenel lungo. Wota bita karte fay bala. Gambianol bafala han sonda wala mansong tubabol kaf me referendum. Yo because tenel lungo le nyimbe kela. Ntenata dani rola nanyi National Assembly member mini alon ko dol mun koto leti dol mun dol leti adun wol dolu nteni nyongol mimbe banta jang ila campaignolu nge makoy je bak nga kodo jamale dila nge makoy kodo jamalto puru ye banko ta ya falling ye banko samba nyanyato bari minketa na banku falling to nyi nyubu ko min nata nyi constitution kuto ay fennel samana mi yalon ko fatam fansolonde ay fenne samana mi yalon ko dola Gambia diya ila foraya kango aya busila iko because dolbe sirim bantale kaitol soto banta kaitolu iko wolte lono la mansa ya nyinola ite kenola mansa no malanko di vice president adite député ya nola iko ite député ya nola banko kan mune atina because iko wandi kaitol le bebulu nde Ahmad Gitteh ko follow ye Gambia diwo Gambia dinje atol alfal mbatol lelale adu National Assembly member sol mba dan la sela moy abaraka alhaj sundu nkoto kendo laftal sela moy because min keta je wolam nyindi ko ye constitution o min dada ye constitution o min dada iko ni lafta kela National Assembly member di député ti banko kan ebela banku di yado ibe o fayla nyamo konol ni mu jaman di ngoti be jamani di ya fayla le nasi Gambia bari ne jaman di ya tuje be selale sa ni dada carte fay nyino le fota carte la imam pala so soto fofulel be tarre la koto il faut la banque di yala jamani mi alonko nafali bije adila o nafa buka daitela la jamani di ya la jamani kaito munafango buka daitela ifamani bamani signol mindu be Gambia makoy ro jama kata wolle kam jaman din jama min alon Gambia dingol muyti Angleterre din jama min alon ko Gambia dingol fanam muyti America din jamal min alon ko Gambia dingol fanal muyti Italy din jamal min alon ko Gambia dingol fanam muyti Germany, Switzerland, Gambia dingol, Australia, Canada dingol, Gambia dingol muiti nyin kaydi fulo soto. Niela na fulo jama jibe. Ila korda kendolu. Ila business oli, ila julayali, ila kodolu. Ibata rako jama babe Gambia. Nimo keme mutawara ulo be. Ila bun kendoli yelo Gambia. Ila kodo jama business kendoli bebe Gambia. Anu nyinne be sondo mo kono ko. Ndol kasele. Imeta nyawo nya. Ika falen tol kasel wemi tandi wole banko kanu barsa nite o banku kanu adi tol ka kodo ki ka badingol mako e ka banko la economy beteyandi ifanal ka contribute ka banko beteyandi bayde banku sinkiri jamali bije Gambia banko kan bantalankol minu be Gambia dingol mimbe banta wala ka o sinkirol dañini mose mo balundi ya fa makanu mose mo balundi ya fa malla fala Mose kordalo moye aya dundije iya foko ñing ay ñing kordalo ñela bara malla fi ñing kordabe lorin dame wo se keno bang mose korda sandulato ay dalasi million tang dépense je iko malla fi o kordani o million tangola ay min dépense je wo se keno bari mirom ñinati wolom ni keta banku dingoti ni banku di ya fula soto ila mirom ñinati wolom ikanata ñim ikana Gambia jamfa wo banku doye bari na barol to wo taman setije nim fembi je fayla ñim banku doli kawle jamfa bari ne do ko ke fenke America e ka kodo ki Gambia dimbayal ka balundi dolu bije fang ike fangol bali domor dimala America dingol minalon ko Gambia dingol lem ke falma koy ke la kordaldo ka kenol sang Gambia banko ka woton dol nga min dani nu mi alon koy manson kala mo wolom ñindi ko ntol ma foko ñil se ñin kayti fulol mu de se dual citizenship soto ntol ko al Gambianol al safero ke constitution o kono constitution o mi alon ko safero mi ala be mi itandile wolom ñindi ko ha atol Gambia dingol mimbe banta ale kayto soto je ngal long al yakatal ba kata kam barin silata ko nale palaso soto mbe sobila la kotol bayral be tarra lafirim banku fulobe la salbe minkela alna al se borino al se presda ya nyini nole nale presda ya nyini nali ya soto nal pareta ni al declare ko say way Ibrahima Chongan non presidenti adun Angleterre passeport ol babulu banko bebe wula sande ko Ibrahima Chongan saye Gambia diya soto lebe palasi balto ila Angleterre kayto sayin a seyndi bayriye palaso soto le foka bang a seyndi woni moman song al sel walandi min sa bay palaso to wo luwase lo no ya fo sayin ye Gambia man sa ya soto le sayin de sonna ye banku fula di ya soto kilongo seyndi ni Ibrahima Chongan balanta National Assembly député sa bay man sayala ye do sambana bari alko ko ha alna president ya nyino la ni man president ya soto ni man gagné muriyeta Britain yetu la Britain di ala kana fo fulake ni en kanu ila fitan na ndingol le muiti minu be bande dingol le muiti alkotol le muiti ba kilim fa kilingolu albetam bankote albeka contribute albe banko kanu alkana fofula lafi fula fofula ke fofula nyari amut bobu bahut nga amut fi tam lolu bahut so kanu somebody so buga somebody ngay hamli ki dem ka buga do buga mu torohal do buga mu am problème mu am kamfa ni kuya ak yelam yeb lolu dunia affaire bi lolu ma mbeta so ndol nga wala dani bari imamu tade because we have all appealed to them na video ke we appeal to them, we try to call some of them about the matter ndenga mera wala nyanda kela. You can run for National Assembly member. Ise keno deputy le Kian West as a British citizen. Kian dingo. Momin bata kumbe sarerin Kian. Abe Angleterre abe kodo nyinela. Coming members of the Kia United Association. Womo sifan. Nim moltada coming Lamin Jasi, who is a British citizen. Lamin Jasi jara kanule. Ni Lamin Jasi na tada akabe kela deputy jara. Bankola luwa fa safa imumo kendolti. Ye londo soto, ye hamo soto. Adung ye experience fana soto do kokon. Nana ye deputy ya nyini. Niya soto de Lamin. Ni deputy ya ni ganyeta jara i ganyeta deputy yala. Ila Angleterre passport sendin de sonna ye banku fula di ya soto. Nsula tela ndama nkiliatale malafin nimbanku do etala sain. Lamin Jasi se Angleterre passport send. Naman ganye ayala kodi jama depansi je. Dola wili tang ay carte fayo ke pura etara dipite ala manje sotono. barite ko jannaka wo ñini ayala député ala Amerique ala Angleterre kayto fay folo sa ala Angleterre kayto fay anata man député ya sot fofula ni ku ya folo a fota ala Angleterre di yala anin na famin bebi je fula njang a fota député yala ni oke ye lamin batandle ima lamin fana damma batandi ye lamin ning aka momin be mako yala ala Angleterre di ya na fa nying aka gambianol min mako wala yewol fanal fondi bitum fayma wolek Ibrahima Chongan be wala nyama komi ngala kumofo ngala hidota wa darabtu masalan ngala hidota Ibrahima Chongan na kodo nko Chongan fama nekut Chongan de Chongan papam moduga si police security bi defa kanta Gambian yu bari def len kanta so len sen affaire dañu suña yela ni so suña Ibrahima Chongan papam Ismaila Chongan the late may his soul rest in peace def de living defa saf nit ñi Gambia fafat Ibrahima Chongan papam retire Ibrahima Chongan defa judo si army camp sa defa continue Ibrahima Chongan te musuta buga puru mu finti banko kan fade defa jena demal Angleterre tok fofu be sanji moi ñaari 20 years Ibrahima Chongal bukutu lolu why mansatalla miyo lanyini Ibrahima Chongan tenunu he will retire in the Gambian police force bara asawotije ya muta ya force ya sorong he stood for his country aborta tata Angleterre asawo ma samba demut ak sawam ak bukam dañ ko force ñu ne ko bay force yow jokal fi yow do ba ya jamme def ko pousse ko mu jokal fi mu jok dem fale Angleterre so abije defa karang be ay jita ba na torop commencé di doku fale liggéey mu am londo fi bu baax sax so mbadi mboki badi ngol so Ibrahima Chongan after 20 years sign woyala kodo dépense Gambia ayala time spent he served Gambia for instance I keloke there's nobody Mimman Chongan long balamba in the fight against dictatorship but I okelo beke fa pareta sanji muang anim fula ali bankota nga luwa safe luwa mi yalon ka def du indi fatam fanza yow fata fi ñun ñep fata killing do fatam fanza amut ha yow nga dem nga fatam fanza ak Ibrahima Chongan iko no Ibrahima Chongan defa am kayti Angleterre parce que defa am Ibrahima Chongan su ñëwé Gambia duñu ko lifin ntelala duñu ko la du ki dana sacha kullo Gambia mu dem mu waxa Angleterre security li la nakala lolu kewe because that is the feeling behind it. You discriminated against him without any remorse. Sunday I feel you've discriminated against thousands of Ibrahima Fenge, former IGP Ibrahima Chongan's boss Pasala Jan, is it Press Jan, the Honorable Press Jan, a security personnel par excellence. And you have many armed forces men, you know, RSM Jeng, the man that was at TRRC. You have the, you know, the late Sadauda Jawara's ADC, Gassama. And many of them, many people that served Gambia in the First Republic, they were forced out. And many young people that left Gambia, dem nañ puru uti knowledge, why dem nañ fofu, defa kolea wata bake. So ñu ne haral ma dugal fi ma gis fi suma amé kayit isaje suma hajo be ase jara suma hajo suma jare suma hajo rek ma dimbale mbamani mfama ma dimbale na banku dingolu nga dimbale sa sinyo nyakala nyo wa sinyo wajuri nda I don't even know wajuri sinyo ku xamne sa ker mu ngi fi keram mu ngi fi sa sinyo yen ngeen neka sinyo ma dimbale la nga dimbale ñom ñon ñep. It's because you want to help them back home. Lol mota nga am kaiti. Purus yaw tam. So nyeke nga am sasa so febare nga dem loptan naba. Paske so ne kute America hale America. So ne ke America dingo hale America puru am living duba. These are the views, these are the rationale, these are the simple wisdoms behind them. Bari mbali ekate kela, you cannot run. If you want to run for president, you must know what they say, you must renounce your citizenship and come and live in the Gambia for 5 years. If you want to be National Assembly member, you must renounce your citizenship. If you want to run, not even you want to be, if you want to run, you must renounce your British citizenship. You are alienating a lot of good Gambians from running for office because they will not do it. They will not. And a bunch of Gambians, they have amazing people. But many others can go and run. Ibrahim Chonga nanata bi. Yes, manke use Ibrahim Chonga and paske suma nijaila, su kamfa sa. Su kamfa. Du kamfa chiman. Suma nijaila, du kamfa. Ibrahim Chonga. Du muna corrupt. Paske amna halis. Paske denko fay. Ibrahim Chonga salariam. It's a lot. Almost number 3 in Home Office Britain. Lolu palasi bu bahla. Amna retirementam. Ibrahim Chongan su retire most likely. He is receiving 200,000 or so dollars in Gambia. Su neke National Assembly member. Nyata lañ koy fay. $20,000. Bo mungi am almost 200,000. Mungi Gambia serve as a National Assembly member for Kotu. Take Angalted nyunko yone halisam 200,000 per month. Fan la mo spend Gambia te halis bobu mu dimbale nit. That should be the wisdom. That should be the wisdom. And if you leave it open, 0.5% of the Gambians outside will ever be interested in the politics. 0.5% of Gambians, in fact, with papers, will be interested in going back to serve in the Gambia. But it's all done with emotions. It's all done without due process. It's all done but because I can do it. I'm the justice of Supreme Court. I'm the expert of the law. I know the law. And because I know the law, I'm the smartest. I know what is better for that country. And that's not the fact. You've discriminated against a very powerful section of our country. They are not going to form a party. They are not interested in that. They are with other parties. You say we will pay tax. Yes, we pay tax. You say we have to own compounds. Yeah, we will own compounds. You say we have to vote. You franchise, we can vote. But then you remove our right to be voted for from us. You can put a condition, but half of it, not full. Run when you win, denounce your citizenship. Run when you lose, keep your citizenship, go back. Come again. Run when you win, get it. And you know, Bukulenol. For that reason, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on this Friday, I'm sending this special appeal to the esteemed members of our National Assembly to please not accept this constitution, for it is discriminatory against a section, a very prominent, a very strategic, and a very sensitive, very, very, very beneficial sector of our country's development, of our country's well-being, of our country's progress, of our country's prosperity. You alienated some of the smartest of our people. You've alienated some of the brightest, some of the most educated, some of the most experienced, some of the most exposed, some of the most principled, some of the most charismatic, some of the most ambitious, some of the most patriotic citizens of our country. And that is not progressive. That is retrospective. That is backwardness. There is no progress in the constitution that alienates its diaspora. It's terrible, it's super terrible, and it's horribly horrible. Finally, whether it's President Barrow or another president, National Assembly should have limited powers. You see, Gambian mentality right now should be measured very well and with complexity and very critically. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine Amadou Sane, Ousainou Darboe, Lamin Diba were ministers, cabinet members. They were not pulling well with Adama Barrow. You would say who is right, who is wrong. That's not what I'm interested in here. For instance, I don't know. Let's say Adama Barrow is wrong, in fact. Barrow wants to fire them because he cannot work with them. He does not trust them as president. Now you put in a section of the constitution and say that a president cannot remove a National Assembly, a minister, without approval of the National Assembly. Let's say Amadou Sane, let's say for the sake of speaking, Amadou Sane did corruption. Let's say, for instance, I'm not saying he did that. Let's say Amadou Sane committed some corrupt activities. But then, Amadou Sane is from UDP. UDP was not in good terms with Barrow. They had issues. Now, Barrow wanted to fire Amadou Sane, but National Assembly would have to approve it. You think he would have been able to fire him? No. National Assembly would have refused because majority of them are UDP. They would vote no. And if they voted no, you created animosity in National Assembly. You removed the powers of president to choose who his team members would be. And again, you have to, as a human being, you have to get that wisdom and the ability to create room for imperfection of humanity. You try to make this constitution is perfectionist constitution, and that makes it the worst constitution, drafted constitution ever. Let's say this constitution were in effect. By 2070, Ousainou Darboe became president. And when Ousainou became president, he has to choose his cabinet members. He wanted Amadou Sane to be minister. And majority of parliamentarians in 2070 happened to be people from O.J. Jallo's PPP. And they don't like Amadou Sane because they have to approve him. They refused. They rejected him. They reject him in 2070. You know how frustrating that would be? When you use emotions, niye kuwa sambanin jusola, eka problem also. Adum, dolbe nying constitution o safela al kono, imalla fi Adama Barola, ilala fi baliala, a jawyata, futata tembe to tembo mi alonko, eketa Abu Jahalti, Abu Keje, anungo nyato Abu Kajeje. Adunia oke. Eko Abu Jahal. La'natullah alayhi. Kila jawba. Ay kila tora aya batandi. Alaf bali atala jawke fo. Ikane ne dinko sing. Akoloma. Ay nganingol kije. Ay fenta aya feneje. Ay kila kumandi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Pour kila esije. Kamo elon nalade. Malam for is authentic or not. But there is wisdom behind it. Abu Jahal found a cool test kan. Alafta kila na jolong kolong min konomi alonko buole bija ninga ningol ka tora. Ate found a kolong murumurun ka ba test kan. Anara parakasa ajurmita kolong kon. Nganingol nim buol nin jorangol yatele so. Atele wurta je nata mako ya bondi. Kodi alnata constitution o safe alia safe in a way ning Adama bota mansayala, let's say ite lafta momino keta mansati. You know the coin changes, directions change. Now North becomes South, South becomes North. And do not forget the fakko. Otilikali ayamu nudawilu habainanas. In 1970, PPP, they have the majority in parliament for 30 good years. From 1996 to 2020, 2016, APRC has majority. From 2016 to date and to 2021, UDP has the majority. That tells you it will change. Someone else will take control of the National Assembly. And you might take control of the executive. And then the tables turn. You will dread, you will hate yourself for what you have done short-sightedly, myopically, and with emotions. And that is what this constitution reflects. So mbal danila, mobe too. National Assembly, you cannot amend, reject it. Mbenna diamo dana janne. Nko, ndeba folale kodeke. Ndebukata moya. Nga fo nata diamo la. Nyimu jita la Facebook leti. Ninde buka sense make. Kanela internet use yena ajang. Ninde buka femfo. Ninde mu wulolti. Ninde buka kuma kendefo. Kana na ye la moi. Ila internet ta yeta siye kudo la moi. Bimu jumolti. Ta kurano la moi. Wose nafa. Ta kurano la moi. Ta kawando la moi. Kana na ye jita la moi. But ni nata je ba falante, I don't make any sense. Nafara be wala ba. Nde buka de la Facebook ya jente mo sifalti. Mbuka mo tonye. Mbuka ta nga comment mo ya. Mbuka ta mo la live to nga nenge mbukake. Ni lafta mimfola nabu wolom na site. Ndongol ko di mben na site rek. Duma de dem ker fale ma disturb la. Man mange suma site rek. Di def suma affaire. Suma affaire bi suma affaire la. Duma def dara. So man fofu la. So bukuta gis nga xam luma wax ci suma beñe. Demal man force suma kena. I didn't force anybody to come and watch. And then that is it. But finally back to that place. It's not good to over-empower National Assembly. It's not good for the executive. It's not good for the judiciary. Sonte nak mbal danila atol mo kallanke ol minube National Assembly, atol MPs. I am not in support of this constitution. I am against it. But these are my views as a Gambian. And I hope that I have not offended anyone, because that is democracy. Nyinna muntala miroti ko. Nyim constitution o minsafe. Kodole tinyata. Bankoe ngania kendo soto. Adama Barrow ngania kendo soto. Anala mansa kunda. Ay kodo jamadi. Minsiata million kemeti. Kadi mola. La tela kolonna le mwiti. Ye lua long. Ye dokuo no. La tela. Ala nin kilai. Nga duno dila pure safero ke lua safe minse makoy. Ayen sambanyato. Bari inata na jamfa kaito safe. Inata na kaito safe miyalonko amang Gambianol ke kilinti. Inata na kaito safe miyalonko amang Gambianol nafa. Yenna kodo tinya, yenna kodo tinya, yenna kodo tinya. Lanno minfana nga dila, yeo lanno fanan tinya. Yenna amana tinya andela view muwalti. So ndebe danilo kela kodo siata nyao nyanyim constitutional alkana vote. I am against it. And of course, the reason why I say nga Abu Jahal nin kila la kumofo. Nga alon dolbi je nga wolonne koibe UDP le 100%. We will go back to 1997 constitution. As bad as it is, it was a dictator who influenced that document. This one, someone used emotion. So we will not accept this constitution, this draft, and we'll go back to 1997 constitution. And guess what happens? You that want Usainu Dabo's convictions to be progressive, because we have a new constitution. Dabo's case now is progressive. He can run for president in 2021. You have lost that battle. Kodosoti, I will lock you up. You know how your big brother used to tell you, I will lock you up, don't worry. So that's it. You want Dabo to be leader? You want to discriminate against Barrow, against diaspora? The end result will be you will disqualify Dabo in the process, because we are going to retain the 1997 constitution, and by virtue of that, Dabo has lost all his battles. He has record on his head that bars him from being a national running for office. So you created this mess. You that think you love Dabo and just Dabo, and that emotion and hate against Barrow, you have not used your wisdom and the knowledge you learned from law school. Some of you, not all of you. This will be the end result. Ndola jumo nga salile kunu suto nga salo kele nga domo ndinkele kadua fa ala se sondo mol faling muqallibul qulub nyin National Assembly member dukare momu ay kono nlafta momu anda mala 20 of them is sondomol falinye, even against the will of Barrow. Who wants to see this? Who wants to, even if everything is against him, but he still has good will and good faith in the due process of the law. And parliament executives, they were not happy, but they sent it as it should be. But even against Barrow's will, Kafoko, this is one of his biggest achievements. I will say, Oga Barrow, no way, we do not agree on this one. This, your constitution, your goodwill is not translated as goodwill by those you assign. So mbamfar, so mbedua kala janin teneng, miya kaluano, kaluaket. Kaluaket. Bari nyen constitution on dol fanam bena duari ngol kelal de. Sama. Tenalung, you will get down in history as the worst drafters of constitution ever. Not all of you. Dolbal kononga wolonne wolmunna molleti mo kende bal, they are very impartial, very independent in thinking. But dolbal kono because nga jele fang draft be kerim fang molia itandi. Constitutional fangola draft committee mo bije minko Adama Barola manse manke manse akendete. Adama does not deserve to be president. There was one guy, a judge in Supreme Court, made a public statement against Adama Barrow. And he was supposed to be impartial. We knew from start that that was happening. But then, Karte Faila Baldanla Alanin Kilai. Baldanla Alanin Kilai. National Assembly. Momu ambato le danla de alto lumbe sambala fengoto Busentia. 20 of you, I'll take your names to Terma Busanti in Germany. Busanti will influence, and then we'll have a new constitution that will consider people and not discriminate and unite Gambians. By the grace of Allah, that will be after 2021 election. So guys, be prepared. 1997 constitution, as bad as it might be, we'll hold it that way. The bad parts of it, Barrow will not touch them, because it is not the law, it is the person. There was a very good law before Jammeh came. Jammeh came and he got bad in some sense. He got bad, he turned some things. It is Barrow who is good, so not the National Assembly, not the law even. Barrow is good. So bad laws that are there, we will suspend them. Barrow will never touch them. But then we are going with the 1997 constitution. I'm so sorry guys, but we have to. Alamalen so Kairola, Nimu democracy leti. I do not intend to sincerely hurt anybody, but that is my views, and Gambians should learn to respect that. That is what nurtures democracy. I felt it was very discriminatory, and I have to campaign, and the people I'm appealing to are your people too. So go to them, make cases, and pursue it. Make your case and go there. If they listen to you, they will listen to us, and then they will decide finally who they think they resonate with. Again, this is not a guarantee that they are going to listen to me. So that is why I want us to be reasonable and not point your bullets to me or your weapons of insulting me, go to your National Assembly members. They are the ones I talk to. Talk to them too. And democracy becomes beautiful and nice and excellent. Mbal kontrol na mbal tent la mbal jaila. Alman sola kairola. Alman kisala setanola. Alman kisala setan molla. Alman na banko ke la kaira bankoti. Alman yung constitution o kana pass. Alanin kila ba hormoto. Sayyidina Umar, my mentor, my role model, Umar ibn al-Khattab, ala waliya hormoto. Umar ibn al-Khattab na kano hormoto. Ana Rasulullah ni Abu Bakar ni Ali ni Uthman. Alama nying constitution o kana pass. Adum be du ala walalde. Mam fenso do baringa ala soto. Alama ale al sondo mol fali National Assembly nying constitution o kana pass. Kila nyima hormoto. La ilaha illallah hormoto. Kursi hormoto. Ada ate pass la ne ala son. Ne atuma nun ko mbe tonya ala kan. Ne atuma ngangani nyimma ala soto Gambia. Ngangani nyimma ala soto Gambia dingole. Nying constitution o te pass la. Ala nimma ngani nyimma soto Gambia de a pass. Banina ngani o nyinyata ala nin kilae. Adu sonda ite ala sonda ko ngani o nyinyata Gambia le. Mol sondo mol fali. Ye nyim constitution o fayna mo kon. Isaje nin Uncle Umar Diouf. We are not in the same party. Bari ngalon ko I contribution o minke society to Nova Scotia. Gambia no le ala dronelo. Canadian citizen no. Na lafta sailor. I doku ke jay londo soto jay doku ke Umar Diouf sitano sukuta I can National Assembly member I experience min be soto jang I tay sukutankol makoy I Canadian connection o soto Canada will sympathize with him he can get projects from here I tay ala constituency develop he has more opportunity and more advantage ka Gambia develop than Baba Kalle Jallo atele advantage to katambi ala jawra la ni honorable Sekou Maranyol because he has that international leverage over the rest. So, alama ale kana new constitutional with. This is my opinion, and those that have been following me, you know how factual, how upfront, and how blunt I am when it comes to my views. If it wants, let the entire Gambia say no. This is my view, and I say yes to this view. If you don't agree, that's fine. If you hate me because of that, alhamdulillah, thank you. But know that you are hating me for no reason because it's my views and I have rights to those views as a Gambian. But on bar konto nambal 10 fla. Constitution alama ale fight. Dos binoko. Kaiti cancel. I told me ya al dungala. You are rich. Al tali alla kodo enjoy ala ngal sadalal. Bar ngal bula do ko min al mok. Ma ballagtum risalatuna almanna letaro futanda nyanda futanda la nyame ale emotional nim ko lekije malla fala we have nothing against you bari ngallanno min sota lanin amana aliyo lanno kurjale aliya tinyale alla do ko ndol ngaje ka mam beteya ha bidalama ale al jo yam fatali alta kodol enjoy al modol sal kordal sang al continue ale kododomo barale kaydo min safenya kayti kendente aman jara aman wo konin sukuro tije min batina Gambian wol bo tala ibe 1997 constitution tala ba josela almalen so kayrola almalen kiza setanola ni setan mo diamo siata bari mbaldan na ninga momo tonye se haket adama diala bo nyama bal betentula mbal jayla ba fulale ko al nimbara bake jale bala julu dima mbal solal ngana kum fawla yamoy assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh jale bala julo felala alata al nimbar al man na juma sial
Yes, sir. alay dari ke amantul kanyandi jongo jongo abira sumanno jongo jon sonno mo manda balana forida duwat balana Momu kapuri ke dokul bima ya marani badwasani
Listen.
Membe nula yante tarai bayina demulati
Yo, alimbara. Bafa bunge kondong.
alimaje birgama
Bafa bu muntalastadi. Fabu zane muntalastaldi. Nesan. Alimaje siatul. Bafa bu muntalastaldi. Koni fabu. Nyancho besiatul fabu saneu. Fabu rama muntalasta. Fabu saneu. Alimbara wai. Malla fi ngamuru alngatang sain khalifa yatal. Donc illa ngam fonyolal sain na Umar mentala ne Ali. Alngatante muru nola wata bar ba fabu. Inimbara. Alimaje American ko bafabu muntelastaldi alimbara ngal kondong. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.